Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of All Prairie Real Estate, where I educate you all about real estate. If you're new here, my name is Matt, and that's Matilda. It's International Dog Day when I'm shooting this video, so we had to include her on this one. But this video, it's gonna be a little bit different. Not as much educational content. I want to have a conversation with you guys, specifically about the Canadian real estate market, because I've heard you guys loud and clear, some of the frustrations that you as buyers are having, some things that really don't seem fair in the Canadian real estate market. I've got some ideas that I think might address some of the problems, but I want to hear from you. So I'm going to propose some of these ideas in this video. We're going to be talking about multiple offers, transparency in real estate, that's a big one. How about home inspections? There's some real problems with home inspections. And some of these solutions, I want your feedback, because what I want to do is take that feedback to my local real estate board and say, hey, here are some of the problems that people are feeling about our marketplace and the way we conduct business. And here's some ways I think we can improve it and make everything better for both buyers and sellers. So why don't you come along and tell me what you think? But first, let's start off with another terrible joke. I've been told that 97% of realtors aren't very smart. I'm really glad I'm in the 5% that are. If you have a terrible joke that I can use in a future episode of All Prairie Real Estate, put in the comments below. And the YouTube algorithm really likes it when you like the video. So do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I want to lay out a scenario for you. You found a house and you really like it. You want to make an offer on it. It's a great house, so there's a bunch of other buyers that also want to write an offer on it. And now you're competing against a bunch of other buyers and you have no idea what their offer is. That probably sounds really familiar. After it's all said and done, you found out your offer was not accepted, and the offer that beat you out, they paid $1 more. And you're really frustrated because you would have moved that offer up because you really wanted that house. Our friends down south, they actually have a solution to this. It's an automatic escalator clause that you attach to your offer. So let's say you're offering $300,000 to buy a house. I know, that sounds crazy. $300,000 for a house? Actually, they do exist. Right here, you should check that out. That's a video on the most affordable places to buy a house in Canada. I'll also put a link to that video in the description. But back to this scenario. So you've offered $300,000, but you'll put an escalator clause in there that says, I will pay $1,000 more than the next highest bid, up to, say, $20,000. So if somebody puts an offer in of $315,000, automatically your offer becomes $316,000. This prevents those crazy headlines or stories you've heard where somebody paid $100,000 more than the next highest offer. We've all seen the headlines before. Now, of course, that doesn't stop somebody from putting in a crazy high offer, but most buyers are going to put in what they think is reasonable. They're going to add that escalator clause. Then they know they only paid $1,000 more than the next highest offer. And sellers know that they got the most for their property because every buyer had the opportunity to say, this is the most I'm willing to pay. And that's what ended up getting that offer accepted, was whatever that highest price was. So I think this is a great win-win for both buyers and sellers, and it absolutely protects buyers better than the situation we have right now. Did you know in Canada that many provinces, home inspectors, there is no certification process, no formal education standards, and no professional standards body overseeing the home inspection industry? When I got into real estate, I was absolutely shocked that there was no formal education or certification process to become a home inspector in Saskatchewan. And Saskatchewan isn't the only province. Ontario, you're the same way as well. And there's no professional standards body overseeing the industry either. And that's not good for consumers. The fact that nobody's overseeing this, and in Saskatchewan, for example, the legal responsibilities or the liability for home inspector ends at returning you the cost of the home inspection. So if they miss, say, a super expensive $10,000 problem with the house, they owe you back the $350 that you paid them for home inspection, and they can walk away. And that's not right. If you're a home inspector, let me know in the comments below. Is your jurisdiction the same way? And what would you like to see overseeing the industry and professional standards, education, things like that? Now I want to talk about kind of what ended up inspiring me to make this video. And that is buyers being forced essentially to write unconditional offers to have any hope at all of their offer being accepted. Kind of got me thinking, and I did some research as well about what is being done in other areas of Canada. So I've got here 3 different scenarios. I don't think any of them are perfect, but I want to walk you through them and let me know what you think. Give me some feedback on these and maybe we can find a better way to handle this multiple offer situation and buyers essentially having to write unconditional offers to even have a hope of getting an offer accepted. Because I truly believe that buyers should be able to have conditions to the offer, like getting a home inspection and having their financing approved. I don't think it should be mandatory, so that's why some of these solutions I think are better. If you are from Vancouver, you may have actually experienced or heard about this, and that is that the property is left available for a set number of days. We'll just say it's put up for sale on a Wednesday and all offers are going to be reviewed on the following Monday. You as a buyer can go look at the property, but also you're free to bring in a home inspector and have them look at the property top to bottom. You have to pay for that inspection, and then you can make a decision whether you would like to write that offer or not. So then a buyer does have the ability to get the home inspection. The negative to this is though, they can't attach any other conditions, say a financing condition, because there's no ability to get financing approved on a deal that actually hasn't happened yet. So that's kind of the negative to this scenario, that you can get your home inspection done, but you can't get your financing approved. Now, if you're pre-approved, you should be able to get this deal done and you should get your financing approved, but it's not a guarantee. It may not appraise out, and the banks say, no, we're not gonna lend on the full offer price, only what the appraisal was. So that's why I don't think this is a perfect solution, but it is a solution. Now, if you're from Toronto, you've probably heard about this solution, and that is the sellers go and get a home inspection before they even put the property up for sale. That home inspection is left out for all buyers to review when they go to view the property. So you still get that home inspection. The negatives to this, so again, like the Vancouver solution, is that you can't get your financing approved ahead of time. And what if you have questions about that home inspection? You may be able to contact the home inspector and ask further questions. But if you wanted something specifically looked at and that home inspector didn't look at that, you don't really have the ability to then kind of retroactively go back and get that question answered. So this is, again, better than no home inspection, but I don't think it's a perfect solution. This led me to think a little bit more about the problem, because I don't think either of those solutions are perfect. They're kind of half measures. So what could I come up with that was better? And I don't think this solution is perfect. So let me know in the comments below kind of ways that I could improve upon this, or maybe you just think this idea is stupid entirely. The idea goes that all properties are put on the market for a set number of days. Maybe we'll make it a minimum of 5 days, and then all offers are going to be reviewed after 5 days at a certain time. That allows buyers to go through and view the property without a ton of time pressure, and the sellers know that when the first set of offers are going to come in, they can sit down and look at those offers and decide if they want to accept one of those offers. Maybe they don't want to accept any of them, but all the offers are going to be made unconditional. And I know that was the exact problem I was trying to avoid, but hear me out on this. When you submit that offer and it gets accepted, it triggers an automatic 14-day due diligence period that allows you as the buyer to go out and do all your inspections and get your financing approved. But this isn't entirely fair for sellers, because they've got 14 days now. They've got to wait for you to go and do your due diligence. They can't sell the property to anybody else, and you could walk away and they've now lost the prime opportunity they had to sell the property to any of those other buyers who are willing to buy the property while you tied it up for 14 days. So that's not entirely fair to sellers. Often when they have to go back to the market, some of those buyers have bought another property, and at times it can be difficult to get that kind of interest again and potentially maximize that sale price. So it's not entirely fair to sellers to just have an automatic due diligence period without any recourse to the buyers. What I was thinking is, let's have a deposit like we already have, but make it non-refundable. That means if your offer gets accepted, you're going to put that deposit down. Now you have decided how big that deposit is going to be. It's entirely a buyer's choice how big of a deposit they want to put down. But once you have your offer accepted, if you walk away, you lose your deposit. That's essentially the financial penalty that you incur for walking away from a deal, and what the sellers receive in compensation for taking their house off the market for 14 days. But this isn't entirely fair to buyers either, because what if they find a significant defect in the property and have to or want to walk away from it because they don't want to buy the house anymore? It's maybe too much for them to take on. They're unable to get a remedy from the sellers to either get it fixed or a price reduction. Well, then what happens? It'd be really expensive to have to walk away from a house, essentially to pay to walk away from a house you don't want to buy because of a defect in it. So it's not entirely fair for buyers either. And that kind of made me think, well, maybe if the defect, the cost to repair it, is more than the deposit, the buyer can walk away with their entire deposit. then there's some incentive for the sellers to fix the issue or repair that issue, because the buyers in this case would get to walk away and keep their deposit. I don't think this is a perfect solution, but I find it an interesting way to go about it to make sure that sellers and buyers are treated fairly, while also making sure that buyers can go through and do all their due diligence, inspections, etc. What do you guys think? What do you think between the Toronto solution, the Vancouver solution, and what I've put together? I hope you guys found this conversation useful. So like I said, put in the comments below some of the thoughts, frustrations, solutions that you have. The more I have that I can bring to my real estate board, the better chance I have of getting changes made. And I know this is just Saskatchewan, but we got to start somewhere. And I hope that with your help that I can make some changes in my own market, and then it spreads out to other markets in Canada. So share this video too. If you've got people you know that would be interested to have this conversation, share it out to them. The more people we have, the better that's going to be. And there's even more I'm frustrated about this real estate market. In fact, I did a whole video right here on things that are really frustrating me as a real estate agent about the current market we're in. You should really check that out if you haven't watched it already, because you're probably thinking, I just like this market because it's super hot, but I don't. I like it when it's more balanced. And this right here is what the YouTube algorithm says you need to watch next on Prairie Real Estate. As always, guys, thanks very much for watching.